going into the music, then around that period, were you starting to write a lot with kind of a future project in mind?
Man, I mean, writing was something I didn't really stop doing.
Okay.
Writing was something that kind of kept going, and the inspiration was obviously different, and what I was writing about was always different.
Sure.
But the writing itself was kind of always there, and it was ever changing, and it was continuing to grow. Even to today, I write completely different level, completely different type songs that I would have back in 2014 or 2013.
Well, I find this. I found something on the internet, so I don't know if it's true. But,
Okay.
it said that you wrote your first song when you were 4.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was the Grammy Award winning, single, but I was just writing a song about my little sister. This literally was called "Oh Miss Hallie," and it was me and my dad, and it was. I mean, the lyrics were like it was comical. I was 4 years old, but that was something that really kind of showed my dad. Like at a young age, my dad always says, he's like, that's when I was kind of like, this is different, because people, like kids, will usually do something weird and like sing something dumb, but like the fact that I would like write something and I would keep it in my memory and all of that stuff is something that my dad always says that was when he was recognizing that things were a little bit different musically to me.
Because that's very fascinating. Because what did you get out of it, especially at that young age? What did songwriting do for you?
I think it was almost, that's such a good question. I've never really been asked that. It was, to me, songwriting at that time didn't really have as much meaning. It was more of the building of something that I could show to other people. And so it was like, I would perform that song for all of my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, my dad's friends, my mom's friends, my sister's friends, my friends that would come to the house. I would sing that song. Like it was something that I did, And so it was something that we even recorded so that we could show other people. And so I think it was more of that. Instead of like, now songwriting is an expression. It's how I express myself. If I break up with a girl, I'm going to write a song about it. Whereas back then it was more like, I wrote a song, look, ha,
Right. So that performing element came very naturally to you.
That to me was even more natural than songwriting itself.
Okay.
Because, between singing in church, between singing with my family and performing for my family, anytime, even when I started writing songs at like 12 and 13 and 14, when those songs were actually real emotional songs, anytime I would write them, the first thing I would do is perform them for my family. I'd be like, everybody would sit down, we would sit down on a Sunday night and I would sing my newest song that I wrote. And the same with my sisters when they would write a song or when they would learn a song or if they would learn a new dance or a monologue or anything,
Is that something you still do when you write a song now, that you use them as kind of a soundboard to get some feedback?
Absolutely. There's like an email thread of like all of my new songs, and I send them to my sister, and I'll call her and I'll be like, hey, I just emailed you something, call me after you listen to it.
Right.
And I do that with my family. Whether we're all together at home, I'll play it over big speakers, or whether I'm on the road and I have to email it to them separately.
And part of the songwriting that you do, because you've done a lot of covers, mashups over the years.
Yeah.
Have you discovered something about songwriting by doing these covers, by looking at how other artists approach their songwriting and melodies? And
I've just realized how, to me, one of the biggest things that I've realized is how important it is to co-write, to open up to other people. I think at a point in time, there's going to come a time where I'm going to want to, solely write, produce, and put together a whole body of work and put it out and say, this is something that only I did. Mm-hmm. But when I listen to other writers, one of the biggest reasons I love covering people is because some people will say something that I'm feeling in a way that I couldn't have said it.
Right.
If somebody's heart is broken and my heart is broken, they might say something that I wouldn't have thought about that feels so right to me, And so co-writing is the same. I could get into a room and I could be like, guys, I am having an incredible day today. I met this girl, she is so hot, and I want to write a song about how I feel about her. And my mind's going to think one thing, and then the person that I'm writing with is going to think another thing. And co-writing is literally just adding more, brain, like more brain power to the mix, So that's something that I've learned, is that I've appreciated co-writing so much more.
I find it interesting because you mentioned that the way people can connect to music. So what is it like then with what you just mentioned, that people, your fans, can connect to what you make in a similar way?
Yeah, I think that's something that it's always been a goal of mine to connect with the fans, not just through social media, but through the actual music that we write, you know? And when I write songs, they mean a lot to me. And so far, the songs that I've put out mean a lot to the other fans as well. And so that's something that I definitely want to take pride in, and something I definitely want to do with every song that I release.
What is one of the best reactions you had to one of your songs?
I like watching. It's funny that you said that, reactions, because on YouTube they have like reaction videos now that like people will film themselves watching something for the first time, and they do the work the middle video, or the listening the question for the first time. And so I love watching those and seeing the reactions, because they're real. They're the first time somebody hears something, and so it's awesome getting to see the positive, loving reactions that we've gotten so far.
And well, you mentioned social media, and especially in this day and age, and I suppose you don't know any different, but what role does social media fulfill for you?
Oh man, I mean, not even for me. I feel like social media has fulfilled a completely new way to listen and stream media. You know, as somebody, as an artist, as a musician, but even like my friends who are actual artists, painters, or friends who are videographers, social media has made it so that you don't just go by word of mouth or calling somebody you know. It's literally a giant billboard that anybody can put stuff up on, and it's really opened up the opportunity. I always say this to people, that I started making YouTube videos in my room on my phone. And if I can start in my room and on my phone, anybody then who has a room and a phone or a camera or internet is at the same place that I was at. And so it really opens up the opportunity that this dream that anybody has is available to anybody.
And well, obviously there's also a dark side to the internet and social
Absolutely.
media, because it allows people to voice their opinions, which aren't always too positive. So, especially early on, how did you deal with this? How did you? Were you thinking about this, or was it? I'm just going to focus on putting it out there.
For sure. I mean, listen, you said it. You said it yourself. The internet is a double-edged sword.
Right.
And if I wanted to find a way to feel bad about myself, I could go through and read all of my comments, because I'm sure as much as there are happy ones, there are negative ones. And I get negative comments all the time, and everybody's going to get negative comments. The only difference is that I have this incredible fan base that is going to millions and millions of people are going to fight for me when those negative comments come. And so the thing that I hate is that there's people who don't have that opportunity. There's people who don't have anybody fighting for them, and they are experiencing that hate, and that's really gutting. It's really like it sucks, So the way that I see it is I just don't look at it. Even when my fans fight for me, even if I see a fan commenting at somebody, it's like, you don't know anything, like, Alex is incredible, I love it. I don't want to see what he says. And I hope that I can kind of help this turn the other cheek kind of movement, because negativity is so accessible on the internet now, like you said. And so it's important to me that obviously we can't stop them. People are gonna hate no matter what. So we learn to be bigger, and we learn to turn the other cheek. And when we see something, recognize what it really is and what it really isn't.
Finally, then, you've released a couple of songs lately. Work in the Middle, Question. Can I assume you're gearing up towards an album?
Oh man. Albums are so cool to me. Like, albums are like the most important things. Like, I grew up and I'm thinking of like the most iconic albums in my head, between Bad and Thriller and The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill and Get High and I don't even know, like, just these incredible albums that it means so much to me, an album, and though it doesn't necessarily mean the most to music industry these days, it's something very special to me. So we're working on a lot of new music, and whether it becomes an EP, whether it becomes an album, whether it becomes just a bunch of singles, I'm still not 100% sure, but I can guarantee new music is coming, and it's going to continue to come, it's going to continue to flow, and I'm just excited for the world to hear.
Finally, because we mentioned the songwriting, is there anything you can that you noticed about what you're writing now?
I'm just noticing there's so much energy to it, and I think it comes from the incredible fans and the incredible people who surround me that are giving me so much positivity, that there's so much like, even like the ballads have like a little groove to them, and it's like it's like a little hint of like happiness that I love, that's in my music, that may not have been if it wasn't for the incredible fans and the incredible people that surround me.
Right. Alex, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.